have you seen the Plaques?
No, I heard about it. So his plaques under everybody's name?
Yeah, he's kind of trashing every other president.
And what is he? He trashes them all?
The Clinton one I read, he talks about Andrew Jackson. I saw the Andrew Jackson and Clinton ones. The Clinton one is like, basically like he kind of got lucky with the economy because of the fucking tech boom. Also then at the end is like, and then his wife tried to run against Donald Trump and lost. Like,
that's a plaque? Yeah. Huh. Does it really say he got lucky? Like, who's writing these things? He's not writing them.
Sleepy Joe Biden.
Sleepy Joe Biden.
By
it
far
says
the worst
that.
president in American history.
Oh my God, he is writing it. Oh no! Let me read it from the top. Yeah, okay. This is so crazy. This is underneath a photo in the White House is so crazy. Look at this. Sleepy Joe Biden was by far the worst president in American history. This is so crazy. Taking office as a result of the most corrupt election ever seen in the United States, Biden oversaw a series of unprecedented disasters. What's the matter, Jamie?
Elections capitalized? Weird.
Yeah, it is weird. Unprecedented disasters that brought our nation to the brink of destruction. His policies caused the highest inflation ever recorded, leading the U.S. dollar to lose more than 20% of its value in 4 years. His green new scam surrendered American energy dominance, and by abolishing the southern border, Biden let 21 million people from all over the world pour into the United States, including from prisons, jails, mental institutions, and insane asylums. Isn't that like he said two things that are the same thing for both of them?
Jails, prisons,
mental institutions, insane asylums. His Afghanistan disaster was amongst the most humiliating events in American history and resulted in the murder of 13 brave American service members, which many others gravely wounded. Seeing Biden's devastating weakness, Russia invaded Ukraine and Hamas terrorists launched their heinous October 7th attack on Israel. This is crazy. Nicknamed both Sleepy and Crooked by you. Nicknamed, like the whole public got together. I got a name for this guy. Was dominated by his radical left handlers. Look how radical left is in caps too. They and their allies in the fake news media attempted to cover up his severe mental decline and unprecedented use of autopen. This is so crazy. You shouldn't be allowed to do this, right? It should be like historians say this guy was president from
wait, what's it say at the end of that? Does it say Donald Trump saved America?
Despite all, President Trump would get reelected in a landslide and save America in all caps. That's a plaque in the White House.
He's not beating the dictator charges. This is like an African dictatorship.
Bro, this is crazy.
Changed the name. I think they're changing the name of the Kennedy Center to the Trump Kennedy Center.
Oh boy. Somebody needs to tell him, like, hey, this is not good. You can't do that. Because then other people could do that too. And then the White House stops being the White House and it becomes whoever is in its house, where he could just go crazy and say everybody else is a crook.
I don't think anyone's going to do what he's doing. I don't think there's, I mean, look,
God, I hope not, but it opens
course.
up, the problem is it opens up the door for someone on the left to do their version of it.
Who's going to be the Democrat? Who's next? Fucking Gavin Newsom? He's not going to fucking put up a plaque.
Of course he would. Of course he would. He copies everything that Trump does. He even tries to talk like Trump on Twitter. You don't think that he would put up plaques that talk about how corrupt Trump was and about how terrible, and he was quoted as lying over 5,000 times by Washington Post? You know.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to put up a plaque. That'll just be everywhere.
I mean, but he could put that under his photo, though. Like, that's never been a thing that people did before.
For sure.
Right? I mean, probably. I'm guessing. What was it before?
Here he added that Ronald Reagan was a fan of President Trump's long before his historic run for the White House.
That's so disturbing. That's such crazy thinking.
What fucking lackey put that shit up and was like, do you like this? Of course he's going to fucking like it.
Bro, he wrote it. What are you talking about? You don't think he wrote it? You think a lackey wrote it?
I don't fuck if I know. I don't know what's going on.
It's whoever's writing his tweets wrote that.
The man who helped get Trump elected, who said he was supporting Trump, he was voting for Trump, had on Trump's, whole entourage, Kash Patel, J.D. Vance, Trump himself, of course. Joe Rogan is now coming on saying that what Trump is doing is so disturbing. He used those exact words. He said it was so disturbing that no one should be able to do that. Mike, what do you make of what we're hearing from Joe? Is this just more of the same kind of thing that we've heard from him since Trump has been doing insane things, and Joe has been somewhat commenting on them and kind of distancing himself? Or is Joe starting to see maybe this could have been a mistake? We heard from Shane Gillis. He literally said whoops at some point during that conversation, which I thought was kind of telling, like whoops as in oops, we shouldn't have elected this guy. What do you make of all of this?
Yeah, the whoops stood out to me the most. I'm a big comedy fan. I love Shane Gillis. Joe Rogan, not that much, although I did used to listen to his podcast somewhat regularly, and then that fell off over the years. But I do think that it's no secret that Rogan helped Trump get elected. As you mentioned, he had Trump on, as well as many other members of the administration, including Tulsi Gabbard, like way back in the day. So yeah, this is kind of an interesting development, I guess you could call it. We already did a story about the plaques themselves, but to see Rogan sort of discovering them and realizing, like, man, like what is going on? This is so strange. This is disturbing, as you said, and as Rogan said, to be honest. So it is interesting, but as far as is Rogan having a change of heart, I doubt it. I think it's beyond clear that this guy has no problem with what Trump is doing. Like, even if he says he has a problem with it, even if he believes he has a problem with it, we had it right then and there in the clip. He goes, man, somebody should tell him not to do this. This isn't okay. Why don't you do that, Joe Rogan? You've got the president's ear. You could be that someone, but he's not going to. But I do think the point that Joe Rogan brought up to me is the most significant, is when he mentions, because he tries to talk with Shane about, hey, this isn't okay. This is a problem because the next person could do it. And Shane's like, yeah, but nobody's really going to do it. But I agree with Joe that the entire problem with the Trump administration, at its core, the fundamental problem is that they are setting precedent for anything that comes after them. So even if we say, okay, well, Trump is becoming a fascist dictator and he's eroding all these constitutional things and he's violating the Constitution and he's overstepping, all of that may be true. But even if we put the reins on him and slow it down or stop it in some cases, unless we restore what he eroded, the next person is just going to erode even more. And this erosion has been a thing that's been happening over many, many decades. You had a lot of erosion with, like, for example, the Patriot Act and things like that, or the National Defense Authorization Act. These are things that even Bush and Obama are guilty of, but it's very obvious that, like, Trump is pretty much going pedal to the metal and going all out on removing guardrails, removing watchdogs, and really driving us off the cliff with that. So my biggest fear is not only, Trump actualizing a dictatorship and going full-blown fascist, but even if he gets out, whatever Republican comes next, or even a Democrat that comes next, they could use these same violations to their benefit, and they could be the dictator. And while it would feel a bit sweet to see somebody from the left abuse the right in the same way that Trump has abused the left, I think that even though that would feel a little sweet, it's not worth it by any stretch. So I think it is a really interesting concern. As far as Newsom doing it, I know that they theorized, oh, well, Newsom copies Trump. Of course he's going to do this. But the entire reason Newsom has been kind of copycatting Trump is to show how deranged it is. That's the strategy. Because if it comes from him, oh, it's weird and it's stupid and it's deranged. But if it comes from Trump, it's, oh man, this is glorious, this is wonderful, this is patriotic. And it's just to highlight the hypocrisy. So do I believe Newsom would actually go in and put a picture of an auto pen, for example, over Trump or something? I don't think so. But even if he did, it would be to demonstrate how ludicrous Trump's behavior really is. So the last thing that I just want to say on this, though, is that we do have confirmation from CNN that it was Trump himself who wrote many of these plaques, not some lackey like Shane Gillis was suggesting. So for Trump to do this, it is next level unhinged.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that you brought up is the erosion of institutions, which you're right, it has been going on for some time. And the lens that I look at that through is basically, what do the rich and the wealthy and the well-connected want? They want to erode the institutions because that gives them more power. And this has happened under previous administrations, like you mentioned, under Obama, under Bush, under Biden even. But it has not happened to the degree and to the accelerated path that it has under Trump. And that alone should tell you the difference between Trump and all other presidents before him. He has opened the floodgates for the rich, powerful corporations, elites, lobbyists, whoever has the money, they have the power more than anything else in this country's history. If you can bribe Trump, if you have enough money and connections to Trump, you can get him to do or say anything you want. He will do it. He doesn't. This is the thing about Trump, is like, a lot of people say he has like bad values, bad morals. I just think he doesn't have any at all. He just has the morals of whoever has the most money. And we see that playing out time and time again. We see that with the ballroom disaster, where he's got all these billionaires, funding that, and they want to make that an amazing thing for Trump, but they're all just trying to appease him. We saw at his inauguration, he had all the richest people leading the tech companies cheering him on, Elon, Bezos, Zuckerberg, everybody was there, the richest people in this country. It's no surprise that the effects that we're seeing from this administration is exactly what you would expect by the optics of this administration. He surrounds himself by wealth and billionaires and gold on everything. And that is the direct effect of also, like you mentioned, eroding the institutions. Institutions are put in place generally to protect the population and to keep things in check. And eroding them only makes the rich and powerful more rich and more powerful. And Trump is their vehicle to do that.